Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Cam here. We're just tooling around. So don't know if you saw my intro video for my '88 OBS Chevy, but one of the main things I talked about in the last video that I want to tackle straight out of the gate was getting the windshield wipers back working. So that's what we're going to be working on this evening. Running out of daylight here, so I'll probably have to break this up into a couple videos, but see if we can get that window motor working. So I'll start by going ahead and getting the cowl off. Never replaced one of these before. I know there's linkages and things like that up under there, so we'll go ahead and get the cowl off, take a look up under there and see what we're dealing with before we pop the hood and start taking the motor off. No telling what we'll find under here either. I know it's I've owned the truck for 6 years now, and I don't ever remember the cowl being off, so I imagine there'll be quite a bit of trash up under here once we get this cover off. Okay, pop off that passenger side windshield wiper as well. We got one last screw left here. Probably would have made it a million times easier if I'd have grabbed the impact, but that'll be all right. Step in here and grab a flat screwdriver. Grab a couple different sizes. So like I said, I've never had to take the cowl or like the little cowl cover or wiper cover off of one of these before, but if you look up under here, there's a couple extra bolts laying on the top, right on each side of the firewall. We'll get those out of here. I'm not 100% sure if there's any in the center or anything like that, or if the ones that come in from the front side are all, but we'll pop those out and see what we got. Went and found the shortest screwdriver on. If I can get that thing in there. There we go. That'll work. Alright, so it looks like over in here, there are a couple more right in the center. Let me see. Yeah, right there. Right there. Kind of hard to see. But those right there are really a pain to get out. No good way to get it with the hood on. I don't know how they originally intended you to work on this or what, but not much room to access that. There we go. Come on. I got all the bolts out. I got the cowl cover kind of sitting up on the hood right now. Don't know if you can tell. I'll pull a flashlight out here, see. But where both of the windshield washer lines connect to. I'm gonna try to pop that T off right there. I know these are 30-year-old rubber hoses, so I'm not sure how well that's gonna go. I'll try to pop those off, get this sitting out on the workbench. Got the cowl cover off. Was able to pop the rubber hoses off at that T for the windshield washer lines. As you can see, I'm running out of light here, and the lights on the house don't really do a great job, so we'll get back at this tomorrow. All right, guys, back at it again today. Sorry for the chopped up video, but running out of light every evening after work. In the past couple days, been Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, but it's the day after Christmas, and we're back on it. So let's see if we can get this windshield wiper motor out of here. Let's see if we can get this nut off of this wiper motor here and get this arm off. Thing's been on there for a good 35 plus years, so we'll go ahead and spray it down and see if we can spray it down with a little bit of penetrating oil. See if that will help loosen it up. Let that sit there for a minute. Oh, there we go. Alright. Got that half of it off. I'll put the nut back on there just so we don't lose it. And then we'll pop the hood and take everything off on the inside. All right, back under the hood. We'll go ahead and get this wiper motor out of there. Pull the iron harness off first. So since I've gotten the truck back, I've had there's been a couple days I've tried to drive it, and either the windshield wipers just flat out don't work at all, or when they come on, they won't turn off. It just steady runs and runs, and you end up having to catch the wipers when they're down, shut the truck off, and start it back up, and then they'll stay off. Everything I've read online says most likely the board in the motor, so we're just gonna go ahead and swap it out. If I head in the right direction, that'd help. Got a rebuilt CarQuest replacement here. Local parts stores couldn't actually get a new one. All the ones they had were remanufactured or refurbished. So it actually took a couple days to get this one in. I guess ordering around the holidays took a little longer than normal. I actually ordered it last week and weren't able to get it until Christmas Eve. But get this thing unboxed and get it on the truck. All right, so I got my replacement wiper motor unboxed here. And to be honest, when I ordered it, I thought I was getting a complete replacement with the controller and everything like that. But it looks like you have to rob the controller off of your old one and stick it on there. Otherwise, go and order a new one. And I didn't see that part listed when I was going through and ordering it. So we'll go ahead and get that swapped over to it and get it bolted on the truck and see what happens. All right, we'll go ahead and pull out the old controller from our old wiper motor here. Take it off. Alright, so we'll take a look at it here. I know at least around here in most of the auto parts stores, they sell in that little help section what they say are replacement boards for this year model of truck and wiper motor. But when you get them, they're a whole lot larger. They don't fit in this housing, nowhere remotely close to this, even though they say they fit 88 and up. The only thing I can figure is maybe they fit some of the newer body style trucks, maybe around that 95 to 96 time frame. They went to a different motor, but not really sure. Haven't been able to find one that fits so far. Leave a note down in the comments if you know where I can get one. But we'll go ahead and stick this on our new motor, get it bolted up, and then we're also going to have to pull those rubber grommets for the feet off, the little mounting bushings. Pull those off and swap them onto here as well. I'll get those swapped out next. so I got the rubber bushings knocked in there into the new motor. And also noticed that the new one didn't come with a little cowl seal, a little seal that goes behind it to keep water from running down in behind there as well. So go ahead and swap it over. I guess I should have paid more attention. Buyer beware when you think you're buying a complete refurbished windshield wiper motor from the parts store. All the pictures look the same, all the descriptions seem to be the same, but I guess I wasn't paying too close attention when I ordered that. So we'll go ahead and get that thing bolted on. Hopefully it'll all work together, and we'll see what we got here. Alright, we'll move around now. We'll go ahead and reconnect the wiper arms to it. Alright, let's get this wiper arm mounted back on here. Alright, that should be tight. We'll grab the keys to the truck, test it out here in a second, see what it does, see if that made any difference. All right, grab the keys. Let's turn the wipers on. See what she does. Turn the defroster off first. All right. That's on delay right there. Let's see if it comes back on again, or if it's just a one-time deal. Alright, it seems like it's only running in wide open. Now at least at this point I can turn them off, which is a lot better than it was, but none of the speeds in between seem to be working correctly. So I'm not 100% sure what's going on there. Maybe an issue with the stalk on the column. I'm not entirely sure. But I can take and bump it like I'm running the sprayers or like the windshield washer. Then it'll cycle one time like it normally would with that. But yeah, doesn't seem that we want to change the speed. At least we have wipers now that we can turn on and turn off. Although they aren't really intermittent wipers, they just pretty much run constantly, or you can do them one cycle at a time. But that's a whole lot better than we were. So making progress, I guess. All right, went in and grabbed the cowl cover out of the garage. I figured while we had it this far apart, this is probably the only opportunity I'll ever have to really clean this bottom part of the windshield, so I might as well go ahead and clean it up and then get the little wiper or cowl cover folded back on. Sorry for the wind noise. It's been pretty crappy weather the past few days here. It's not really pouring, just enough rain to be aggravating. The wind's blowing. All right, not great, but it looks a little bit better than it did. Get all that stuff out of the way so we can pop the hood here and set that, lift it up just enough to get that cowl cover set back under there. Trying to do this one-handed while holding the camera. It's not the easiest thing in the world. Let's see if I can take and set that right there. Set the hood right about there. That should give us enough room to snake this past there. Maybe. There we go. There we go. There we go. Got it set down in place. Now, I'll go ahead and connect, lift it back up just enough to pop those rubber hoses back on for the windshield washing deal. But I believe the washer tank on this one's cracked, so I'm not sure that it really matters. But while we're here, we'll go ahead and hook it back up. Can't really do that holding the camera, so I'll come back at you guys once I get that hooked up, and we'll start putting the screws back in it. All right, so I got the cowl cover back on yesterday evening. Just got home from work a little while ago. Figured we're gonna put everything back together. Good time right now to go ahead and hit the wiper arms with a little bit of flat back paint. So I've already scuffed them up with a little bit of 220 grits. I'm gonna go ahead and throw some paint on them, let them dry, and get them stuck back on the truck. Throw some new wipers on them. We'll be done with this. All right, guys, we finished up dinner and figured we'd work on the truck for a little bit tonight. So one of the things I mentioned in the intro video, along with the wipers needing some work, was there was also an issue with the wiring on the passenger side of the truck. So on the OBS trucks, down in the kick panel area, there's like an access hole made into each of the cabs. Inside of mine, there was a pretty good sized mouse nest, and like I mentioned, I'd recently installed the speakers in the kick panel and things like that. Well, they chewed through all the wiring, chewed up the tweeter wiring, chewed up the woofer wiring for it. That was fairly easy to fix. I just put some heat shrink over it, but the tweeter wiring, as you can see here, it's pretty well chewed straight through. Not a whole lot left to it. So got a roll of speaker wire. Got my soldering kit out. Gonna try to patch it up, get it back together, so get it knocked out. All right, so we'll start out, try to cut off every bit of the wiring that was damaged. If you look, they chewed pretty much all the insulation off from where it connects, almost all the way back. So there's not a whole lot of this we can salvage. Cut it off right up here on each one of them. It's fairly thin gauge wire as well, so with the amount that they chewed up on it, right around the truck, there was nothing coming out of the speakers on that side. They pretty well disconnected them. All right, got to cut back. Got some fresh ends on there. I'll go ahead and cut a new section. I'm gonna go ahead and cut a little bit of extra. I don't know exactly how much we'll need. Just cut a little bit of extra that way. Got enough when we get it back in the truck Alright, so I got the wires skint back. Went ahead and threw a piece of heat shrink on. I always make sure to do that before you solder it together. I was getting ready to solder it just a second ago and remembered I had not put heat shrink on. I went ahead and threw some here so I could do it over each connection, and also throw a larger piece over there so I could cover the whole piece once I'm done with it. So don't laugh at my soldering method. It's one that I've been using for a while. Learned it offline, but don't know if it's really the right way to do it, but it's the way I've always done it. So I just normally take the two, skin them back, twist them together. Let the connection get warm and then slowly let the solder flow into it. Alright. I think I got the temperature set down a little bit too low on the soldering iron. It didn't seem to want to melt too well. But got it together. Let that cool off. Unplug the soldering iron, plug it in the heat gun, and get some heat shrink on it. Alright. Cooled off, got the heat shrink slid in place, and hooked up my heat gun. We'll just go ahead and melt that heat shrink to it. Slide the larger piece of heat shrink over it just to cover the whole joint and repair area, and we should be good to go here. Closer here so you can see, but pretty much got it repaired, got it covered in heat shrink. Got the kick panels back in the truck. On the other end of the the connection, I just used some little small 1/4 inch spade terminals and some heat shrink tubing. Put it back together. Now we're gonna tuck everything back up in here. Like I mentioned, the mice have built a nest in this little access hole in here. It actually makes a pretty good spot on these OBS trucks, especially when you're running the kick panels to take and hide your components set in there. Good place to throw some Velcro on the back of and stick the crossovers in there. Hides it pretty well out of the way. So we'll go ahead and tuck all this back in there. Try to hide the wires up in here as best I can. Before I turned the camera on, I went ahead and cleaned all the remaining material from the mouse nest out of that little hole right there, and got it looking pretty good. Overall, I've had these Q-Logic kick panels, and with them they come, you have to cut the holes in them. I used a 6.5 inch feature curve, which is, I would say, pretty close to the max on these. There's not a whole lot of meat left on those once you cut the hole for them, but they work pretty well. They fit pretty well in here. They come with provisions where you can take and run like a self-tapping screw in here and in the front. I hadn't done that yet. Once you screw the little trim plate down here for the door seal, it seems to hold them in pretty well, and I haven't had any issues with it moving around on me. So get that screwed down. With these, I also find it just a whole lot easier to start at the back and work your way to the front. They seem to line up a little better, especially with those kick panels. When I installed these a couple years ago, I went ahead while I had it. I pulled the carpet out, sound deadened the floor. I actually painted the floor with POR 15 at the time and cleaned it up pretty well. Definitely helps drown out some of the road noise, especially with the exhaust that pretty much dumps out right behind the cab. Need all the help we can get, and definitely need all the help we can get in the radio department to be able to hear it over the sound of the truck. All right, guys. So we got the kick panel back in place. Got the door seal trim installed. Tested everything out. Everything works. So takes care of the two main issues that I wanted to get addressed that had happened from it sitting up for so long. The wiring damage over there behind the kick panel, and then also the windshield wiper motor. One thing I will say, I mentioned earlier in the video that I couldn't find the controller that was on the truck. I actually did some research. I wish I'd looked at it before I started replacing the wiper motor, but it seems that style controller was only used for 2 years. So everything from 90 and up uses that larger style controller, like I picked up in the help section of the auto parts store. The thing to do would be to just order a newer year wiper motor with that newer controller already on it. Wiring's the same, everything else is the same on it. So probably here I'll run it like this for a little while. Don't drive the truck that often. It's not my daily driver, but probably going forward I'll end up swapping to that way I can get all the speeds back. I've used the truck a little bit since I put the wiper motor on, and it does work wide open, and it'll work on the lowest setting. So at least I do have wipers and can safely drive the truck. But that's where I'm gonna end the video at for today. Next time we're probably gonna take a look at the driver's front wheel bearing. Like I mentioned, it was leaking a little bit of grease. You can see some of it coming out around the center cap there. I want to take care of that, and then also want to take a look at the coil springs on the front. When I lowered it, the 2.5 inch springs that I got actually gave me closer to 3.5 inches of drop. So we're sitting pretty tight to those 275s right there. Hit any kind of potholes, run over a set of railroad tracks, and we get into the inner fender. So I'll probably take the stock set of coils I got and cut them to give me about a 2 inch drop, and throw those back in there and pick the front end up a little bit, make it a little bit more friendly to drive. Also make it a little bit easier to align the front end. I had a little bit of trouble with that after lowering it, but other than that, I appreciate everybody watching, and I'll catch y'all next time. Thanks.